Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Let's talk about a few underrated attackers. To make it very clear, this is by no means an exhaustive list. For example, today I won't be talking about Spider-Man, even though my recent explorations with him have told me that he is an extremely potent attacker, particularly if you just need a lot of damage, and that he is massively slept on. These are just some champions that I want to have a look at. First up, we have Diablo. Diablo is a champion that I have not really seen anyone mention for quite some time. Yes, he is primarily poison-based, and in a game where Mystics generally go up against Cosmics, and a lot of Cosmics are poison immune, this does hurt him, and I will fully admit that. However, for those that you can poison, or those that you want to poison, like the recently released Dark Phoenix, having access to probably some of the highest raw poison damage in the entire game is not a bad thing to have. You can keep it refreshed, you can keep it going, you can keep it paused, and it really just ticks and ticks and ticks. His pre-fights give him some fantastic utility, and if you don't need them, you can get going faster. If you want utility, it takes you a bit longer, but what I really like about this is, yes, it takes longer to get going, but the cap is exactly the same. There is no long-term punishment for using his pre-fights, but there is reward for not using them where you don't need them. He's also very, very difficult to put down. He's got some serious regeneration, and if you have him at a high sig and you poison him, which is usually done through recoils, but any other ways work, 30% reduced damage from all sources, and this is from all sources, is massive. It includes things like the recoil damage itself, combined with the regeneration that comes naturally from his specials, or the big regeneration off his special 1, he's very difficult to die with. Next up, we have Dust. Now, Dust is one of those champions that most people will slap on Battlegrounds or War Defense and kind of forget about her. But let's have a look at her on the other side of the field. Not only is she triple immune, and has some very good tanking abilities. She's got built-in critical resistance, good armor, just lots of generally good things. Her glancing, very, very potent as well, meaning you can mess up with her. And that's a sort of running theme between a couple of these champions we're going to look at. In fact, all but one of them. You can mess up, and they've got your back. We all know sort of Dust's annoying damage from defense, and on offense it doesn't matter as much because it's normally not quite so much. But you go to that special 3, which will cost you no power, special 2, couple of special 1 spams. Actually, her damage is really, really quite good. Build up those debuffs, build up that prowess, drop some very large special attacks. Dust will do you surprisingly well. Next up, we have Longshot. Now, I know some people do like Longshot, and if you do like him, excellent, well done you, but I do see some people sort of forgetting about him somewhat. He is, very, very potent when it comes to ability accuracy, but if you just need to drop some incinerates on the opponent, or anyone that has lots of buffs, he is a really, really good option for. He is one of the top future Ant-Man counters in the entire game, because there's a sort of a looping effect where Ant-Man will trigger a buff, so Longshot will trigger an incinerate, and that just sort of goes round and round and round. So he's a very, very good future Ant-Man counter, even with future Ant-Man's natural resistance to incinerate. But you can use him against incinerate immune champions. I have seen some very, very high-level Battlegrounds players taking Maestros with Longshot, even though Maestro is incinerate immune. But the burst bleed damage that comes from this guy's special 1 is really, really good. So, Longshot. Surprisingly good. Don't forget about him if you've got him. Difficult to get as a 7-star at the moment, but if you do have him, consider yourself lucky. Next up, we have Toad. Again, one of those champions that's often just stuck on defense and kind of forgotten about. But on offense, this guy has a lot of similar characteristics to Dust. He is fully poison immune and cannot have his regeneration rate changed outside of those poisons, and he can inflict significant poisons on the opponent. Now, if they're skilled, you can turn those poisons into his passive ones, and they do a lot of damage. They stack up. That's a really good way to melt down a lot of skill champions. But against non-shruggers, turn them into prowess, and you can drop some very, very large special 2s. A lot of people forget about the fact that Toad, he hits really hard if you ramp him up. You can get 100k crits out of a 6-star Toad if you know what you're doing. So if you've got a Toad as a 7-star, maybe give him another look. And finally, we have Sasquatch. Again, really fitting into that characteristics of you can mess up, and this guy has got your back. Dying with Sasquatch is very, very tricky, particularly if you've got him awakened. You can take hits, his regeneration will come in clutch, he's got natural damage resistance, and also just the largest health pool in the entire game. If you've ranked this guy up for defense, I'm sure he does a very good job there, but don't forget about him on offense. The rupture damage isn't huge, but it doesn't need to be, because the massive crits off his special 2 can do some serious work. He can shut down buffs with his heavy attack, and all in all, he's just a really solid champion that I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten that can be on your side of the screen as well. So, there you have it. 5 underrated attackers, in my opinion. Let me know if you've absolutely championed any of these attackers, or let me know your obscure attackers down in the comments. If you want me to have a look at any of these champions at rank 3, rank 4, rank 1, whatever, let me know. I'll see if I can get my hands on them, and we can take them out for a spin on the Content Creator Beta. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comments as well, and consider joining the Discord server linked in the description. A great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and while I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. Thank you, and I will see you next time.